So Temi Fagbenle is a player who used to play for the Indiana Fever. I don't know who she's going to play for right now next season. She's a Golden State Valkyrie as of right now, but if they don't match her contract, she's gone somewhere else. Ironically, she could still be an Indiana Fever at the end of the summer if they offer the most in free agency. I think Indiana let her go because they would be scared that in free agency, Golden State were going to offer big bucks that they could not afford. And in fairness, Temi will sell a lot of jerseys just like a Kate Martin. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 40,162 subscribers, honestly, by the end of the day. Right now, we are at 2 subscribers game for today. If we can just keep that above 0, that'd be insane. Either way, though, we got to talk about Temi Fagbenle. And she went and tweeted at this. And she actually, in defense of Caitlin, let me make this clear. CC can speak about having white privilege without hating herself. She can acknowledge the reality of race disparities without pandering to any group. She can celebrate the giants who've come before without diminishing her own historic accomplishments. I think what Temi said is 100% the truth. But I'll always say it with Caitlin Clark is like, when you give some people an inch, they take a mile. And by the way, again, like Temi Fagbenle is not who you criticize in this. It's like, not even the Swoops of the world. You're like Esquire type people where it's like, she says that and they're like, oh, it's not diminishing her accomplishments. But because she said what she said, suddenly it's now, oh, she's admitted that the only reason that, like, the narrative amongst some idiots on one side is she has now admitted that the only reason she's popular is because she's white. And the narrative on the other side is that she's pandered. And again, the reality is that I think she should say what she wants to say, but to ignore that there is a certain amount of people, a certain amount of idiots that will take what Caitlin Clark has said as justification of Caitlin Clark effectively being a DEI hire for the WNBA, as quoted by AJ Wilson's good friend publicly. But I think most people know is a select group trying to twist things. And the ironic thing is that I'm being dead serious. It is 2 sides of the same coin. I think you're Jemele Hill's, and I don't know in this specific situation if she said anything, but that people, Jemele Hill adjacent people, like people on that side, and your Whitlocks, I think they're 2 sides of the same coin. I think both sides of that try to twist things. Again, I know when we're talking about specifics, yes, Jason Whitlock, and if Jemele Hill has not said this, obviously we're not talking about pure specifics with Jemele Hill, but we all know the type of people in general that would be in that kind of, not clique, but like those type of people. So if I did get wrong with the specifics, I am wrong, but like I'll put my hand up and say I'm wrong. At the same time, I've not said anything specific. The US race issues so ingrained, I believe the majority of them don't even know they're twisting anything. The immediate response to anyone talking about how it affects anything is a denial. It's a great opportunity for respectful conversations about race. It's like, and that is the one thing is that I fully, I don't necessarily, like, one, she is talking about Caitlin Clark, and obviously, Temi Fagbenle is perfectly allowed to discuss that, but I think in this entire thing is that Temi's making a completely different point, by the way. And I think she's dead set. Like, I actually don't agree with a single thing that disagree with a single thing that Temi Fagbenle said. I don't think it has anything to do with the Caitlin Clark article. I don't think it has anything to do with what Caitlin Clark has said. I don't even think it has anything to really do with either side of this argument. I think Temi Fagbenle has made in fairness, to trying to defend Caitlin Clark, while also giving her opinion on that topic, which again, I actually don't disagree with a single thing that Temi Fagbenle said. Look, Temi Fagbenle is a fan favorite for a reason. Like, she was the de facto leader early on that season for Indiana. She played unbelievably hard. She was one of their best defenders. She was the first player to really embrace Caitlin, and for that, Temi Fagbenle will always be a fan favorite player for the rest of the time. And look, just in general, Temi Fagbenle as a person seems to be a really good person. And I don't even mind somebody using some issue to talk about a greater topic that has nothing to do with basketball. And the reality of the situation is that that's what Temi has done here. People are like, Temi has defended Caitlin Clark. She actually hasn't. They were like, she'd speak up for Caitlin Clark. She realistically hasn't. Isn't speaking up really for Caitlin Clark here. But at the same time, I could guarantee you that if she was asked about she defended Caitlin Clark, not even if, and we'll use that defense and that conversation to almost talk about the greater topic of race rather than from a purely sporting perspective. And that's one thing. Look, I'm Irish. I'm a Irish dude. I don't know about what's going on, and I don't think in America, and I don't think with any type of race relations, I think me giving any opinion on that is just purely it would be a naive opinion, and a lot of the time it would be an idealistic opinion because I've not lived through it. I've not been in a country where it's quite as bad, where there is a history of it and not just racism being on a individual case by case basis where there's all history of it. And I'm someone who every single time I boot up online, I get called some sort of Irish person slur. So it's if I'm getting it this bad, I know how bad some of these players are getting it on a daily basis. And yeah, it is one of those things where I think the problem is if something like this could have can create more conversations, you could argue that it could be very good, but I stand by the point that 95% of people aren't racist in the world. The problem is that there's no amount of dialogue. There's very little dialogue that will change the opinions of the 5%. But at the same time, I'll support Temi talking about it. I'll support any player. Honestly, I'll support any single player that wants to talk about that. I'll support any single player that'll do it. And I'll also support any player that doesn't do it. Temi Fagbenle has come out, defended Caitlin Clark as an individual, and then used the traction that she'll get from defending Caitlin Clark as an individual person to go and make her own points about the entire situation, even from a non-basketball perspective. And I'm cool with that. I don't know why anyone wouldn't be at the end of the day. As I've always said, I don't think the WNBA should be an activist league. If a person wants to talk about these topics, more power to them. And when it comes to Caitlin Clark, I don't think she tried to diminish her own achievements, but the way it was worded meant that there is a certain population that did use it to diminish their achievements. And ironically, the other side of the same coin have used what she said to diminish everything she's done as just pandering. And the other opposite side, which again is, in my opinion, an opposite side of the same coin, is now just calling her DIR. But anyway, that's the video. Fair play to Temi. Huge fan of Temi Fagbenle. And look, I think everything she said, I don't disagree with a single word that she said. And I don't think as an Irish guy, I don't think giving my opinion, I don't think me having any input in anything she has said, as someone who's never been to America for more than 3 days, is wise, because there's no point. There's some times where it's when you've not experienced something, shutting the fuck up is probably the best decision, or if not shutting up, basically just saying, right, putting up your hand and saying, look, I'm not informed enough to talk about it, so I'm not going to give my opinion on anything here. I do think purely from a basketball perspective, I think it's a dangerous thing, is that because of what Caitlin Clark said, you've got the Washington Mystics owner who feels empowered to basically say Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve anything, she's just white. Because Caitlin Clark said that, even though I don't think she believes herself, now she is hating herself, but it gives ammo to people that already dislike Caitlyn to dislike Caitlyn. So, or to hate Caitlyn, or to diminish Caitlyn, or to belittle Caitlyn. It did give them ammo because we saw it literally from an owner of a team. Like, I think that is fact, and we've seen that play out. But either way, though, shout out Temi. See you guys.